Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles 2. My name is Anna, and I've been a life coach for 9 years now. Total, I've created magic and miracles to help people manifest their goals. I have also the original channel, Magic and Miracles, and I'm sure you will find that link below. Also, to my coaching, if anyone needs coaching, not just in relationships, I coach in every department of life. Like, for instance, today we will discuss narcissists, but not in a romantic sense necessarily. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. It's not an SP bring back situation, in other words. So if you need coaching, directly below, you will find all the links. I recently started offering installment payments. So my schedule is filling up though. I do have to warn everybody. So if you're looking for a good coach to coach with and you like my style, please make sure you check out this channel in addition to my Magic and Miracles original channel, so that you get a whiff of my style, how direct I am, how dedicated to my clients, how thorough. And this channel, I like the more casual feel to it, because that's what I wanted to create in addition to my original channel. So, but do check out my work, make sure I'm for you. And you'll find all the information below. I recommend the signature package for those who are seeking for a change that is going to be able to be produced in 2 to 3 months. Okay, so that's how I operate. I attack your inner belief system straight away, and it's very kind of an intense process, but I excel at it. I've done it for 9 years with thousands of people. And as long as you're open and honest and you welcome my suggestions, and you understand that my job here is to be direct and not to sugarcoat things. Not to say, of course, that I would ever disrespect anybody. Never have I ever done that. But you need to be ready for the truth, okay? So all of that is below. You need to pre-book to be in my coaching and sign the coaching agreement that is attached to the coaching package. Okay, you will find it once you check out. So I wanted to talk about how to win the situation with a narcissist. Okay, how to come out victorious out of a situation that you right now may be finding yourself in. And I'm really inspired to talk about it. I have been since yesterday. I just haven't had the time. So I know somebody needs to hear this. Okay. It's been my inspiration since yesterday. So in a situation like this, again, it's not an SP bring back case. It's literally like you're trying to get divorced from somebody. You're trying to get out of a partnership, perhaps, with a narcissist. What you don't want them in essence in your life. You're trying to get rid of them, but they're putting up a fight, and they always do. So I'm going to go off of my personal experience, and parenthesis here, every narcissist, it's as if they get the same memo, and that's how they operate. So I'm sure if you're familiar with this topic, you understand what I'm talking about. But essentially, for me as a manifestation coach, as a life coach, it's an idea of a person that, once in a while we all attract. Now, the difference for me personally becomes, where do you attract them? In other words, like, are they your partner, or are they somebody who is replaceable and doesn't really mean that much, kind of deal? That type of, like, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a coworker, that type of situation. It's not crucial to your situation. So depending on how close it is to your proximity, it says something about you. So I want to start out with that. So it's not in a form of blame that I say it, but I say it in terms of, like, I'm trying to help you realize a couple of things about yourself too in the process. And and realize that there's some kind of weakness, a perceived weakness at the very least. Like I coach a lot of people, all sorts of people. And generally speaking, if somebody has a sweet heart, a kind of very generous heart, a very giving person, very, what people call a people pleaser, who doesn't know where to distribute their, people pleasing, meaning like I think it's okay to be nice and to be accommodating, but you have to know who to do it with and in what measure. So the people who attract these kinds of people are people pleasers for the most part because they have no boundaries. And the narcissist is aware of that because their bullshit wouldn't fly in any other kind of relationship. They have a sense for it. They try certain things in the beginning with you, and if they are not held accountable, they get worse and worse and worse. So if you hold them accountable, it's usually they disappear. The thing is that first of all, I wanted to start with this. There are two kinds of narcissists. Okay, I mean, they're all on the spectrum. There's different variations of them, but it's generally like this. Either they're blatantly upfront about it. In other words, you will recognize this person. They're the loudest in the room. They're the flashiest, the most flamboyant, the most braggadocio. It's on the surface, okay? And the other one known as the overt and the covert. So I'm, not explaining anything new, but just to illustrate and make it vivid in your mind right now. The other one appears to be and has made a career to appear to be as a nice person in public only. In public only. It's such a devastatingly charming mask at first that, people fall for it, essentially. Now, the more you become attuned to, and if you had experiences like I have and, coached many, many people now, thousands of people, you have, a kind of like a whiff of them also, like you understand before they even come into your proximity, it's the way they talk, it's the way that they approach things in the very beginning that gives them away right away. Okay, there's something so unapologetic about them, a little bit arrogant, but in a very, I don't know how to say, it's not confidence, it's some kind of, I'm trying, very, very hard to appear confident and to appear, charismatic and this and that. But there's something that gives them away straight away. And I can't put my finger on it, but it's so, that the charm for me at the very least is so transparent that, if you even say one word in a wrong way, they start reacting. They're very, very sensitive. And that mask has the ability to slip like in 3 seconds. They'll overreact to such a degree that you'll be like, holy shit, bananas, like I didn't realize what I just said was so bad. You're like, they're making you feel really bad for them, looking for bullshit and things like that, whilst kind of like trying to achieve the self-importance through manipulating and being covert about it, in a sense that they have to play the victim. So you have this, they're more or less playing the victim, all of them, because they're just so inadequate and insecure. But at least one has this upfront, ability about them. And the other one is just, playing this nice person, playing the victim, but underneath it is actually extra evil. So like, to me, if you come to me and you're totally arrogant and an asshole, at least you're being fucking honest, right? If you're playing a nice person who is easily bruised by your, walking an actual kind of situation, by some, I don't even know what you're bruised about. You're making up shit as you go and getting upset about. Like, to me, that's more dangerous because they have this tactic for a reason in order to suck you into something later and continue to pull on the strings of your good-hearted heart. Does that even make sense? I don't know. Pull on the strings of your heart and make you care for them. Their kind of strategies to get you to feel for them. Okay, get you emotionally sucked into their fucking drama. And this is where the danger begins, ladies and gentlemen, because the more that they suck you in on an emotional level, yeah, that cannot happen. So education is everything. Again, if you're struggling in this area and you think you might be dealing with a narcissist, I can definitely help. I know this subject inside out. So they give themselves away either way. Okay, you just, with the covered one, it's a little bit, you have to be experienced, in my opinion. Now, when you're trying to get rid of them, as a for instance, I'll give my example. I already gave it on my original channel, Magic and Miracles. I'm only laughing because, anyway, it's kind of really funny now because it's so simple. Their game is so transparent. So my second husband, I wanted a divorce from him, and he wouldn't give me a divorce like for years and years and years. And so he had his own reasons, and he was trying to literally just find any kind of way to make it completely uncomfortable for me, making unreasonable demands and prolonging and refusing to show up and this and that. And so eventually I just said, look, I'm getting this done whether you want to do this or not. And he started threatening me, like, for whatever reason, he really did not want to divorce me, even though we haven't seen each other in years. And this is like them sucking your energy. Like, this is their primary kind of aspect, to suck your energy. Don't allow it. Don't engage in their back and forth and this and that, the gaslighting, the projecting of blame. It needs to be in one ear and out the other. And what really needs to happen with people like that is just don't engage in their energy, completely stay out of it. Yes, you can get angry, momentarily and be frustrated, but don't get sucked into their game, their manipulation of the mind. They're trying to make you believe something that isn't real. I was threatened, like literally narcissists, they go out of their way and cross over into the criminal side with such ease, because they don't have boundaries again. They really don't have boundaries. They don't understand that, things have consequences. And that's where their weakness lies, because they don't realize that their bullshit will literally not fly. Like, eventually something's going to happen to them. Like, they've made a career out of fucking people over and doing stupid shit and threatening and lying and this and that and the other, extorting, these kinds of situations. And they think that you will be able to, they will be able to do it with you also. But in my case, I have to say, I for one, have made a career of being the last stop for narcissists. And it didn't happen by design, but certainly what I mean by that is that I was the last one that they fucked over, because the consequences of their actions were such that it was astronomical, let's just say. It crossed over into the criminal. He wouldn't stop harassing me. He wouldn't stop harassing my social media and the fake accounts, you name it. He was spying on me. And usually they make a very huge mistake at some point. Like, if you're in a litigation situation with them, or some kind of, again, separation from a former spouse, etc., they will cross over. They will make it so easy for you, in other words, for them to get, completely fucked up the ass, if we're being completely honest. All you have to do is completely preserve your sanity and somehow distract yourself from their mumbo jumbo. They will eventually, because they are refusing to let go of you, and perfectly reasonable as an adult, not a fucking, overgrown 3-year-old, right? With absolutely zero sense for consequences. They don't understand that what they're gonna do to get your attention, to get you upset, to harass you, to threaten you, to belittle you, amounts to criminal consequences in a lot of cases. And what ended up happening was that he got arrested, and there were other things consequent to that because of his status in this country that happened to him. I mean, he did many different other things. So that ended up really brutally bad. But this is how, there were a couple of other, not a couple, but one instance where I experienced the same kind of obsession over me, but they're usually really obsessive. They are obsessed with you, even though they're not, displaying that. They are obsessed with everything, the way you talk, the way you walk. They're jealous of you. That's the other thing. Like, I had 2 experiences with narcissists in a relationship, and somehow the man in a relationship was jealous of me. Now you go explain how the fuck that makes sense. It doesn't. None of it makes sense. The idea is to take them out of your life if you don't care for them. I just, they're from another planet from me. They're completely just have a distorted mind, a really unhealed mind, and it's not that hard to win this game because you understand they're going to destroy themselves. They're in self-destruct mode, completely being unreasonable and doing stupid shit. So, the reason I said 2 other instances was because the other one was at work, well, meaning around business. And that one was amazing. Now, I'm a manifestation coach also. So in addition to being generally life coach, so for me, I put intentions into even, situations when I would encounter a narcissist. I've made it so that every single time I get something so amazing out of it that otherwise would not have happened. In other words, all right, I'm running into the situation. It's going to play out. It's going to play out. It's going to be what I already know what it's going to be. They're going to get into a shitload of trouble because it's so predictable for me at this point. I know what they're going to do before they know what they're going to do. Or they think that they are coming in with a plan and I cannot detect that. It's so funny to me. So predictable. They're not that smart. And the funny thing is that they think that they're smarter than you, which is also a weakness. It's a huge weakness. And so I can detect their plan. And to me at this point, it's like the most fun of games to be able to predict 25 steps ahead of what they're going to do. Meanwhile, they think I don't know anything. If you have your intuition intact, if you're not buying into their scare tactics, intimidation, bullshit, and this and that, you can see right through them. You can see right through them if you just stay out of that energy of the toxicity that they've lived in, all their life. And just, again, everybody's on the spectrum. I'm talking about somebody who's really fucking destructive, really crazy, right? On the border of it's a psychopathic thing to do kind of deal. So somebody who's destructive, somebody who's evil, I'm not talking about somebody on the spectrum, okay? Now, of course, you're going to argue and you will be right that they're all destructive. Their manipulation, their tactics, even if they don't go out of their way to harm you in some kind of a legal situation, etc. Even emotionally, they could damage you for sure. I know that one, from my mom. I grew up with a narcissistic mother who definitely, did a number on me, and I had to undo all that shit. In my personal work, some 15 years ago now when I started. But at the end of the day, what I want to say is that they're all just weak people, really damaged people that think somehow, are under the impression somehow, is that this is the only way to survive, to latch onto somebody, to suck somebody dry of their energy, to steal from somebody, to take something that isn't theirs. And this is the funniest thing. also that I realized in specifically in somebody who's really destructive, okay, who's going out of their way to take something from you or to try to destroy you. It's such a funny situation because they don't realize, this is how like really stupid they are. They don't realize that what is not theirs will never stick to them. In other words, energetically, it's a mismatch. They don't even understand that that will lead nowhere. You can't force something to happen. You can't like grab something and make it yours. It happens when you're a match energetically, and there's only such a for such a time that you can get away with forcing somebody to do something. Eventually, the person that they're abusing is going to stand up at some point. Something's going to happen and they will stand up to them, and it's going to be the end of it, because what they're translating as weakness from a person who is just being nice and giving them a chance to correct their behavior, which in my case, I did several I mean, this is just my nature, to just give a person a chance to, get their shit together. I think that's sensible, in everybody's mind. What they're translating it into is you're weak. And they will continue attacking you. They will continue doing crazy shit, right? In some cases, until such time that, I hate to say it, you're gonna have to get law enforcement involved if it's gotten that bad, right? At the very least, there needs to be some very radical action that completely makes it impossible for them to continue doing what they're doing. They're not going to stop, and it's not going to be a happy ending. If somebody is really deliberately making your life miserable and being abusive, etc., the only way out is to take radical action. That don't waste your fucking time, don't waste your energy, don't waste your nice words, don't worry about it. This is not the situation of such kind. Your problem maybe is that you're trying to be reasonable. There's no reason. They're operating either, some consequence needs to happen to let them know, party's over, motherfucker, kind of deal. This is my honest and best advice. I know somebody needs to hear it because it's been on my mind, like I said, for a couple of days. But it just save yourself the time and go for the right thing. Don't be such a fucking people pleaser. I know sometimes it doesn't feel so good, but why should it be that you get abused by somebody, that you get to put up with some bullshit, essentially? Makes no sense. So people pleasing doesn't result in a happy life. You need to stand up once in a while, okay? Grow a pair. Stand up once in a while and do what's right by you. Don't worry about the other person. Clearly, they don't give a fuck about their life. They're being self-destructive. Why should you? Okay? Lots of them, not for nothing, but really just belong in therapy like full time, with some medication, I swear. If there even is a medication for evil, I mean, let's just be honest, because it's one thing to be into manifestation, let's just say, and a whole other thing is to be clinically delusional, okay? Completely, literally believing their own lies, and with having like double personalities, one for the public, the other one indoors, for the rest of the people. It's like, it's lunacy, and you shouldn't waste your time on it. Now, I always say on my Magic and Miracles original channel that if you are in a position like this and you're listening and you haven't made up your mind to leave such an abusive person, I would advise you that you do. Of course, it's your life, and I offer coaching for people, yes, to help them with their relationships. But when it comes to abuse, there's only one answer: walk out. If you haven't made up your mind, I hope that this inspires you. You're probably already exhausted. You're probably already maybe done this for a number of years. It feels wrong. It feels wrong to take abuse. Can you give yourself the love that you deserve? You can come into my coaching. We will process all this drama, trauma panorama, and you will be a healthier, a much more whole person for it, for having walked out and out of a extremely toxic and unhealthy situation. You will be on another level. I mean, I swear, when you know, I disengaged from my first narcissistic relationship, which was a complete, an utter catastrophe, as they say in French. Complete absurdity, complete disaster. And it's not funny, but it was staring me in the face from day one. But that's how like low my self-esteem was back then, that I would put up with that bullshit. you know, no other reason other than that. I had to literally start from scratch of designing my life. And it was an echo of the past for me that I ran into a one right after, but I was smart enough to completely disengage from him. It was my mistake that, I just didn't call the police right away, because they just they're not going to change, okay, wanting what they want from you until they hear what is going to happen to them if they don't let go of you. Sometimes there's just such a disconnect with, who you're trying to become and the echo of the past, which was immediately apparent to me in my second marriage. And we disconnected like in the first, whatever, barely made it to 2 years, barely. We're already having like major issues, and I gave him so many chances, which I shouldn't have completely, but they always give themselves away. It's not gonna get any better. You shouldn't put up with that. It's just a representation of something that you're parting with. At that moment, I had already begun my work on myself. I was in process, I would say, and that was the echo of the past, and it showed up this way. If you're in this position, you really need to understand this happened for a reason, something that went unprocessed. You need to look at it. I couldn't for the life of me go back to anything close to that right after I separated from my second husband, because I was not the same person anymore. I don't think I was probably the old version of me for like maybe 6 months of our relationship. And then I started realizing that I am not this person at all. And so if you're in this position, understand that that's okay. You just need to let go of this garbage and not be so nice. Sometimes we're being too nice and giving people chances and this and that and yet. Just do what's right. File for divorce. Call the police if it's gotten so bad. Obviously, protect yourself, this and that. But the idea is they're always giving themselves away, in that they're trying to scare you into something they're scared of themselves. They're always projecting. So instead of feeling bad for them or being scared of what they might do, understand they're scared of you, because there's something that they want from you. Like I said, they're always latch on to somebody, and they, suck you dry if you let them. So by saving yourself this energy, you get to then work on your life, on your things, and you will become a completely different person. Just a person who respects themselves and understands the value of fucking time, okay? You don't have time. You don't have that fucking energy to put up with some shitty person who, like, you can't even resonate with anymore. It's just like we're on totally different levels. As much as you think that we're on the same level, we're fucking not. You know what I mean? And again, they'll put on a very nice face when they want something from you, which lasts like 3 seconds until they, burst into rage and start calling you names. Who the fuck needs to spend their time like that? Seriously, though. It's funny to me now, but I promise you, if you're in this position, whatever, the situation is, I promise I can help you. I've dealt with these situations like, in every which way you can possibly imagine. And it works with kind of like a very predictable mechanism they've got. It works the same way, but it's a lot easier to come out of the situation than you realize if you drop the people pleasing, is my point. Thank you very much for listening. All the information from me is below. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.